Hi class, welcome to Social Work 602, week 2 or session 2. Like I said in a number of emails, this session runs for 2 weeks given the Labor Day holiday. So it is a time where if you were having any kinks with the technology or trying to get in the groove of online learning and back into school, this is the time to kind of pull it all together so that you don't fall behind. In this course, we build each week moving toward enhancing and advancing your critical thinking skills. You leave this semester with that skill set, or at least that's our goal. And then when we move into Social Work 622, you apply those critical thinking skills in more active ways in terms of approaching social problems and using your voice with social justice options. So last week we went over the syllabus and the assignments. The first paper assignment coming your way is the ethical framework paper that is logged in detail under the assignment section of Blackboard, but also spelled out in detail in your syllabus. As a note, always follow the calendar that is under the syllabus tab, but it's under the at a glance feature because the syllabus is subject to change with dates and ideas and assignments, some of which I just removed, like the treasure hunt, for example, for first week. Just too much surveying going on, I felt. Anyway, so this week we move on to foundations of teamwork and critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills are in your little blue mini book that you were to buy. You can read about. It's written by Paul Elder, but essentially it's this. It's making a claim about a social problem or a social issue that we're passionate about, giving some reasoning for that claim, and beyond the reasoning, supporting it or warranting it, as we call it, using data or research to support your claim. In other words, you're going to have to sell it with facts. In the world of macro social work and representing large populations, particularly in front of decision makers want to be sold and have something proven to them, scholarly or with support from government data sections that they support, to be able to move forward with a social problem being a reality that needs to be addressed. So for example, say you want to raise the minimum wage, that's your claim. Well, the reasoning for that is, well, most people who live and work with the minimum wage need a second job, or they live at the poverty line and it's not enough money to exist. So that's your reasoning, but you're going to have to get proof from, say, the Census Bureau or from financial data sets that prove that minimum wage does not meet the living requirement of most cities in this country. So that's sort of how critical thinking works, and you will have mastered those skills by the end of the semester. The first paper with ethical frameworks, you'll apply them to the concept of poverty, and that'll be a first test run of making claims and supporting them using evidence versus a paper about I feel. And in macro social work classes, we don't use we don't particularly invite papers written in the first person with the I feel statements. Instead, it's written in the third person in terms of large groups. So be thinking about that before you start writing. When we enhance our critical thinking skills, the blogs each week will be reflective of that. I'll start to expect you to support your claims and your responses using data or research to support your claim. But right now we're getting in the groove of things. I'll make sure you know when I really do expect that. This week we will also go over ethical frameworks. You'll hear from Michael Sandel from Harvard. He is sort of a rock star, if you will, of social justice arena. He is one of the few in Harvard who allow us to use his work for no cost. He's bright enough to have had a foundation underwrite his work. He teaches to stadiums of people. He is so popular. And he will go over in his modernized way the frameworks we'll discuss in this class that are really actually old philosophies, and that's utilitarianism, deontology, and distributive justice. I hope you enjoy him. Most of my students do. His interpretation of really old philosophies that came with the early European settlers to this country that make up our fabric today socially, he puts them in a more modern context, but also ties in the history related to them and why we still operate and make decisions along these lines still today. And we're talking about teamwork this week because we're going to move into assigning you using your preferences survey that you filled out, assigning you to the oppressed group assignment and your team that you'll work with. Social work is teamwork. In the profession, you will work in multidisciplinary fields and groups. And we try to practice that in the classroom. I know it's hard sometimes to put your grade in the hands of other people or make yourself feel that way, but really it's a practice that we're trying to instill in you that's part of the profession. So I hope you enjoy the week. There are 2 blogs, one that's expected at the end of the first week and one that's expected at the end of the second week, and that's based on the attitude survey that you filled out that I need to compile by the 6th of September for you to be able to answer that second blog. I'll be working on that as soon as I can get to it. I teach 5 classes this semester, only 1 online, 4 in person, and I'm just getting my bearings as well. So welcome to the course again, and I hope you have a wonderful 2-week stint of work, but also a little bit of break to kind of catch up and catch your breath. Have a good week.